7. Okay, right
Oh
now
my
you
god.
can't with this
Oh my
whole
god, that is so great. Oh. Hi and welcome back. So there are many great things when you think about living in the US. But what are exactly the things that people that move there from different countries or from other countries love the most? That is exactly what we are going to find out today by Feli from Germany, so fellow countryman or countrywoman there, a video about 10 things I love about living in America. But before we do that, please make sure to hit like and subscribe if you like the content. That would help me so much to make more videos like this and shows me that you like this type of content. Thank you so much for that, and let's go into the reaction.
Why did I move to America? Well, there are just a lot of things that I love about living here. So today I'll tell you about my 10 favorite things about living in the US. Hallo, Servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Felicia and I'm a German living in the US. As many of you already know, I was born and raised in Munich, and I first came to the US in 2016.
It's the capital of my home state of Bavaria, or Bayern as we say in German.
Semester during my undergrad. I then came back for an internship, then I came back for my master's again, and then I was lucky enough to win the green card lottery, which is why I'm now here
green
as a
card
permanent
lottery.
resident.
So green card is, I heard something like green card. Green card is if you can stay there, right? But why is it a lottery? Is it so hard to get, or why is it called lottery?
And of course, people ask me a lot, why did I do this? Why did I move here? Why leave Germany? And the answer to that is that I didn't leave Germany because I didn't like it there anymore, or because Germany isn't a good country to live in, because Germany is a pretty amazing country to live in. But the reason is that every time I was here...
Except the weather though. I would love to have a more Mediterranean climate.
I just really enjoyed it here. Those of you who have lived abroad before probably know how exciting it can be and how amazing it can feel to like challenge yourself, get out of your comfort zone by living in a completely different country where everything is new. So the excitement is definitely one reason why I came here, but the other reason is that I just love a lot about the US and about American culture. And what those things are exactly, that's what I'll tell you now. So here are 10 things I love about living in the US. The first point on my list is that I love how open and friendly Americans are.
They are so damn friendly. That is it exactly it absolutely blew my mind how friendly the Americans are.
Not every single one, of course, so just a general disclaimer, whenever I make like a generalizing statement about Americans, this obviously doesn't apply to every individual out there, but it's just my personal experience with the majority of Americans in comparison to Germans. So overall, Americans are
I would totally agree that Americans are way more nice than Germans are, definitely. If you are very nice to a stranger in Germany, they will look at you very weird, like, what do you want from me? What do you want to sell me? Do you want to attack me? Not really, but you know, they are always so skeptic about everything if somebody comes to them on the street or something like that.
Lot more open and friendly than Germans, and that's just something that makes being away from home a lot easier, and it makes living here really enjoyable. This includes that approaching people and talking to each other is very easy and comfortable here. In Germany, the threshold to do those things is a little bit higher, but here you can pretty much just walk up to someone and start talking to them, like if you have a question, for example. This especially works at certain social settings, of course, like at a gathering or when you're at work.
Just to add, for example, I did a month because I'm a pretty confident guy, right? I'm pretty extrovert, but that was not the same with women, for example. I don't know, that was for me always different. And then I did a month every day talking to at least 3 women I met that I found pretty, because of course with women I don't find pretty, that is way more easy to speak with, right? And yeah, I got so many, although I made them of course a compliment in the beginning, I got so many weird looks, and first after 10 or 20 seconds, then it got more and more after time, more casual and more, okay, he doesn't want something weird from me, stuff like this. So it's really a thing in Germany that you don't talk to strangers so much.
work or school, but people even approach each other just at the store or on the street sometimes. And most Americans are really friendly too. They're polite to each other, they usually have a friendly tone, they're interested in what you have to say, they share personal stories with you, they give you compliments, and if people are in a bad mood, they don't usually take it out on everyone around them, which in Germany I sometimes feel like you can just tell that someone is in a bad mood, and obviously that doesn't brighten your own
All Germans are always in a bad mood.
either. The second point on my list is that it's easy to make friends in the US. Since most Americans are so open and friendly, I found it really easy to make friends here in the US, which obviously made my experience here so much better in the beginning. Because when you come to a new country and don't know anybody, having friends changes a lot actually, and it's pretty much the first step to feeling at home in the new country. And people were also really hospitable.
Because if you have you have probably so many problems if you come to a new country, right? You don't speak the language maybe perfectly, you know, there are so many different governmental systems, things work different.
Own life, but towards others too.
Yeah.
Celebrating other people's success, encouraging others, and also supporting them to use their
I
talents
love that
in the
so
best
much.
possible
And then somebody to help or to at least speak about these problems can be so beneficial, I think. Then you don't feel alone and isolated.
in the beginning. They offered to show me around when they heard that I had just arrived, or they drove me to places because they knew that I didn't have a car, or they invited me to hang out with them and their friends, or to come along on trips. So that was really amazing for me. But even after 3 years, I just love how there isn't a really big threshold to becoming someone's friend, and how it's also really easy to connect different friend groups with each other. Like in Germany and some other European cultures, people kind of prefer to stay within their established friend circle, and if you have several of those circles, you usually hang out with one or the other.
Yeah.
But here, connecting friend groups and also inviting people to join if you've already
There's
made
often,
plans
for
with
example, I don't know, I'm a guy, as I said, I make many friends there. And then I'm often like, I have maybe a very good friend and I'm like, hey, can I just join? And they're like, yeah, you know, you don't have the, you know, don't know the group, you don't fit in the group dynamic. And it's always like, why? I can just say, hi, I'm Chris, how are you? Okay, nice thing to talk about. You know, it doesn't get boring, but that is definitely a thing in Germany.
Your friends is really common and simple. These things can be a lot more complicated in Germany, which is also why for people who are new to Germany, it can be really tricky to make friends in the beginning. But the good news is that once you've made friends in Germany, it usually means that you can really rely on them and that they're going to be in your life for a while. Whereas here, I'd say that, and of course this varies a lot, but overall, I'd say that not only the threshold of making friends is pretty low, but also of losing them or losing sight of each other. But the point still stands, I love how easy it is to make friends here. Americans are a lot more spontaneous than Germans, and I love it. Germans love so most Germans plan things like hanging out with friends at least a few days or even weeks in advance. Here, I really enjoy that people are much more spontaneous, and sometimes it can even happen that you didn't know what you were going to do tonight, but then suddenly you end up having like a game night with 8 friends or something, and that just happened like the hour before.
Ah, okay, this
just
was during COVID. Okay, interesting.
Of course, but I hope you guys know what I mean. In Germany, the majority of those
it is really, for example, my best friend, she becomes a teacher, stuff like this, right? And she packs always everything into her day. And then, you know, we don't live in the same city anymore because I moved out after studying. And so I just say, hey, can we call? And she's like, well, I have to find some, you know, I don't have space anywhere. I will maybe say to you 1 minute before we can call, stuff like this. So it's not like spontaneous, hey, can we just call, I don't know, in an hour or stuff. It's always, oh, no. There I have something, stuff like that. Please hit like and subscribe. It would help me so much. Thank you.
People probably would have already had plans, or if they didn't, they may not have been up for a spontaneous thing like that. The downside to this is, of course, that people also bail spontaneously sometimes, and if you like to plan ahead a lot, it can get
that is not the thing in Germany. That would be so rude.
Tricky at times. Americans are very good at enjoying themselves and treating themselves without feeling the need to have an actual reason for it, and I personally find that to be a very healthy way of looking at life. Germans often have the need to
I always need a reason to do something. I'm always like, why am I just laying in my bed? It's not productive. I don't do anything, for example. I don't know.
justify those things towards others. Like if they treat themselves with unhealthy food, or if they go to the bars and get drunk, or if they spend a lot of money on a new pair of shoes, or whatever it is, Germans often compare themselves with others and judge each other in certain ways. And so if you do something where you feel like other people...
I wouldn't say that. That is where I disagree. I wouldn't say, but maybe I'm just so used to it that maybe once I'm in America I see the same thing, but I wouldn't say so.
May think something like, oh, why did he spend all that money on shoes when we all know that he doesn't have that much money and he should have just saved up for emergencies.
Okay, this, yes.
Germans tend to explain themselves and justify their actions towards others when technically they don't owe anyone an explanation, in my opinion. In the US, people don't really do that as much, but I also don't see people being as judgy as in Germany, and Americans don't begrudge each other as much either. So I think that's probably the reason why people don't feel as compelled to justify their actions here. For
it's
me
probably, you know, we always want to be reasonable, logical, and efficient. So that is probably, you know, he's not efficient. What is he doing? Stuff like that, probably.
This whole attitude of just treat yourself if you're in the mood for it definitely had a positive impact on how I live my life. These things are all somewhat related to each other, but the next thing that I love about living in the US is this optimistic and positive atmosphere here. Germans are oftentimes a lot more skeptical and critical.
That is my number one point. That is my number one point. You know, in Germany, you're always like, you want to start a YouTube channel? Why? What do you have interesting to say? You know, it doesn't work. Or even if people are nice to you, they think, oh, it won't work, stuff like this. And here in America is, yeah, great content so far. Keep it going. And that just feels so much better. And I don't know, if I would probably have lived I had to spend so many years changing that behavior to finally get stuff, do stuff, and get out of this shit. And if I would have lived probably in the US at that point, I probably had to have done this like 6-10 years earlier. So this is totally a thing.
I find that positive vibe here in the US really inspiring. You can observe this in all kinds of different contexts and parts of life, like how people just compliment each other a lot. But to give one concrete example, you can see this a lot in the field of entrepreneurship, especially when it comes to new ideas and thinking out of the box. So broadly speaking, when the average German would ask why, the average American asks why not? So while Germans often focus on finding potential problems and reasons why something could possibly fail, Americans focus more on the potential and have more of a can-do attitude and don't give up easily even if they fail a few times at first. And this attitude is something that Americans don't only have about their way, is a part of American culture that I would love for Germans to adopt a little. This kind of ties in with what I said about judging each other.
You know, exactly those things are why I don't want to stay in Germany, why I want to get out of Germany as soon as possible. That's exactly why I don't like to be in Germany. Although I like Germany, but I don't like the people there.
Earlier, but Germans unfortunately often begrudge each other's successes, and instead of being happy for other people, we oftentimes feel envy and somehow feel like another person's success may make us less successful or valued. Again, this doesn't apply to every single German, of course, but it's definitely something that you can see in German society. And who knows, maybe this optimistic and positive spirit here in the US still goes back to the pioneers who came to this new country with a lot of big dreams. Very closely related to that is that I also love how enthusiastic Americans can be. Whether it's about their favorite sports team or a band or just the school they're attending, Americans are usually not afraid to share their enthusiasm with the public, and they're also not ashamed to stand up for what they like and to show their excitement to everyone else. As I've mentioned in my video on sports cultures, Germans can be like that when it comes to soccer, but besides that, we're usually a lot more reserved and modest.
As she said, we are always negative. Well, not we. I don't want to be always negative about everything, but Germans are in most cases. But soccer, even if your team plays so bad, you know, they're always next time we will win, next time we will win, next time we will win. Except the national team, there we are always pessimistic.
modest about those kind of things. Unfortunately, this also sometimes applies to our own accomplishments and things that we should be really proud of. Sometimes people are very modest and humble about those things too and feel like they can't really celebrate openly because it would make them look like they're bragging and make them unlikable, which I think is really sad. So I think being positive and celebrating each other and supporting each other is awesome in the US. The next point on my list is that I love how individualism is valued in the US, and how I feel like that the need to fit in and to float with the current isn't as big as in Germany. This is based on my personal experience.
Sorry that I pause so much, but she speaks out of my heart. She speaks definitely. You know, my mom asks me, hey, why do you hate Germans? I don't hate Germans. I just don't like their attitude. And that is exactly this. You know, you have to fit into this thing. You have to study, then you have to get a job, then you and you know, there's never this, okay, I could just take half a year, live off what I have made so far, and just try something different. It is always like, why? Or you shouldn't be other than we are. You should have exactly the same mindset as all of we, because this is good. That is not, you know, this is safe. In Germany, it's always about safety. It's always about safety, you know.
And it is compared to Germany, and this may vary a lot in different places between rural and urban areas, but overall I feel like you're really encouraged here to be who you want to be and do what you want, as long as you don't break the law or harm anyone. I've talked about this with my German friend in this video a little, but Germans tend to look at each other a lot.
By the way, I don't hope this video is too negative. That is exactly what I found so refreshing and so great about the US spirit. That was what I found so refreshing about the American culture. I just felt better reading the comments, and that was just great when I started out here.
Like some people would say that we stare, while in the US I feel like it really doesn't matter what you look like. Whether you're wearing gym clothes out to the bar, or have a lot of tattoos and piercings, or are bigger than other people, I feel like Americans don't give you weird looks usually. And to be honest, I don't hear Americans talk about others a lot either, which I think is awesome. The motto is kind of like, mind your own business, but in a good way. Okay, this is old news, but another thing that I love about living here is that the United States are huge.
I found, like, you know, sun and planet space.
And there's just so much space here. In Europe, everything is much more dense and just smaller than in the US. This starts with the country itself, but it also applies to how streets are much wider, stores are bigger and have bigger selections, houses are bigger, and you don't have to be rich to have your own yard and driveway, and even things like fitting rooms in a store are...
Those are... All of the things she mentions are exactly the ones why I think, you know, America is not in all things better. And, you know, I think Germany and America are in many things equal, but those are the things where I really adore America.
Are bigger. So except for a few dense cities in the US, everything is just more spread out here, and that definitely gives me a feeling of freedom. On to the next point, I also love how within one and the same country, there's just so much scenic diversity. I mean, Germany has a very diverse landscape too, and so do a lot of other countries, but I love that in the US you have two different coasts, you have really warm and really cold climates, you have swamps.
Well, actually, Germany has also two different coasts, but they are two different seas, but they are basically all in the north, so yeah.
And beaches and the big lakes and mountains and vast openness and the canyons when you go out west. And still, when you travel all of this, you're in the same country the whole time with the same language and the same currency and all the things you're used to. Okay, so for the last point, this topic has come up
convenience
quite a lot
and customer service,
videos about how the US is all about convenience. And I mean, I would lie if I said I didn't enjoy that. You can pretty much get anything you want here 24/7. Okay, right now you can't with this.
Oh my god, that is so great. Oh, you don't know how hard it is. Every shop closes in Bavaria, only in Bavaria, at 8 p.m. latest. You know, normal shops, like not grocery shops, mostly at 6. They don't, on Fridays and on Saturdays even earlier. Some even don't open at all. And on Sunday, everything, and I mean everything except gas stations, everything is closed. Maybe a restaurant is open, but everything. You can't shop. You can't shop at all. Maybe it doesn't come through. Everything, really, everything is closed. So you literally have to plan your whole day after those shopping hours. And if you, for example, if you work until late, you don't get food. You always have to go to restaurants. That is such a pain in the ass.
Pandemic going on, but before this happened, you could, and hopefully after. A lot of the stores here like Target or Walmart have pretty much everything you need in just one place. So everything from groceries to furniture, clothing, medicine, hardware, but also in just regular grocery stores, you can usually get way more than just food. And as I've mentioned before, stores have huge selections. So like a full aisle just for cereal is pretty normal, or like 20 different brands of pasta sauce and those kind of things. And in addition to that, there are drive-thrus for almost everything, so you can just conveniently get food from your car, or coffee, or medicine, or cash, or even liquor. And of course, the US has amazing customer service, which is something that I absolutely enjoy about living here, and this also plays into the whole convenience thing. Most salespeople at stores are extremely friendly and help you wherever they can. Waiters are usually really happy to accommodate your special requests, and even at the grocery store, you don't even have to bag your own things in most cases. And for the
I have to be honest, we had this Aldi video. I like efficient grocery shopping more, although I have to say, until I was like 17, 18, I haven't figured out how to pack things very fast. So there I was always anxious about it, because as we now know, Germans are pretty annoying if they have to wait on you or stuff like this. So they will give you bad looks, even maybe bad comments. And so you are always anxious, like, oh my God, I don't want that everybody gets rude to me, stuff like this. But otherwise, I really love doing fast grocery shopping.
Those of you who think that customer service is bad here in the US, believe me, you do not want to come to Germany then.
Even worse is Austria. Even worse is Austria. In Austria, everybody is rude.
So that was the end of the list. Those were my personal top 10 things about living in the US. My friends and family have definitely heard all of these before, because I tend to talk about this a lot, especially whenever I'm in Germany, because then I kind of like notice how those things are missing there. I'm sure this can be a little annoying sometimes for the people around me, so I apologize.
I also apologize that this was maybe a rant out of Germany. But, she is German, so she knows, and also Bavarian. So she knows exactly what she's talking, or I know exactly what she's talking about. And especially maybe as a poor person that wants to leave Germany, because I don't like the weather here, I don't like the taxes here, and I don't like the mentality here. Sorry if this was maybe too negative. She just speaks so incredibly out of my heart, and she even gets better words than I have. I haven't. It's always a good thing to analyze it and break it down into parts and into topic points for a video, and that is something I didn't have the right words for it, but she really put the nail in the coffin. I think that is what you say. And yeah, I really appreciate all of this, and I'm glad that you have all of this in the US, and that there are many different countries, not only the US, but they are way better in those things than Germany. And I really love, most of the times, if we don't talk about politics, I really love my comment sections. Yeah, it is absolutely amazing how nice they are, that everybody has a little story to tell. Everybody has a few good words. I really enjoy that, because in Germany, if you get a compliment, you have to have something incredibly done. You have to have really something impossible done, then you get a compliment. Of course, from your mother or father a little bit more, but from other persons, not at all. And even if you give other persons compliments, that's even weirder. If you want to become a more nice person, they think you are not real and you don't mean it that way, and they think you are lying. And that is such a bad thing, because then in high school I started to make more compliments, and it sounded weird to me, and it looked weird to them how the whole situation was. So I really love that about the US. And yeah, I hope you weren't too pissed off by my whole rant about this whole video. I mean, the video was great about Germans that were described in the video, because I can feel that pain so hard. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are feeling maybe a little bit more proud about your country, or that your country is not Germany now. Also to say, I'm a proud German. I like to be German. I just don't like how other Germans are sometimes. And I'm proud about, for example, how many scientists we have and stuff like this, and how we are the country of the thinkers and poets, as we self-describe us. Maybe a little bit not humble, but still. Yeah, but I'm very proud about Germany. I don't want to say German history because there were a few years where we weren't so good. So to say that is always a bit bad. But I like our scientists. I like what Germany stands for after the war. But I don't like particularly how German mentality is, because it's really toxic. So yeah, that was it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Keep liking, subscribing, and we see each other in the next video. Bye!